Oh, that thing is heavy. I don't even want to pick it up. God! Ah! Completely gelatinized.
Jump in this thing and see what it'll do.
Ready to rock this, bro?
Oh, hell yeah.
Destiny is a rising sun. Oh, I was born, 6 gun in my hand. Behind a gun, I make my final stand.
What's up, everybody? So it's another day, and I have got here 2 modifieds. That one is mine, and now all of a sudden that one is mine. I just got this car from an estate sale up in Merced, and the guy that owned it, I mean, I don't know the guy personally, but I did meet him one time. His name's John O'Brien, and this is the guy that did a lot of the tow trucking for the Speedway up in Merced. And as he got older, he wanted to go racing, so he home built this car in, I would say, the mid to late 90s. And nowadays this car is considered a dinosaur in the racing world. Like, not competitive. Why am I doing this video, you might ask? Nobody cares about circle track cars in the YouTube world, right? Well, I kind of do. And since it's my channel, this just needs to be about what I like doing. And what's popular right now is the will it run and drive videos. Well, hell, we've got a will it run and drive right here. This car hasn't been run in ages. We don't even know how long it's been since it actually fired up and ran. Since this has a really hot 351 Cleveland engine in it now. Oh yeah. Solid roller 351 Cleveland, forged dome pistons, H-beam rods. It's a 628 lift cam. It's like 255 on the intake, 265 on the exhaust, 108 lobe separation. And the reason I know all this is the car came with the engine book, what the specs on the engine and what was used inside of it. So that's pretty cool. The widow actually found the book for the car. It was so old that none of the local drivers wanted it. There's nothing they could do with it. It's not competitive. I'm like, you know what? We got the Duel in the Desert coming up, and I've got an asphalt buddy that has never raced dirt. He's only run asphalt modifieds and super late models. And when I told him about the car, he's like, well, does it run and drive? And I'm like, well, I was told it did, you know, when it was parked, you know, who knows how long ago. He's like, well, hell, let's get it running and driving. I'll take it out and run it at the Duel just for shits and giggles. I've never experienced it. Let's just do that. And I'm like, you know what, right on. That way I have a buddy in the pits parked next to me, and we can both just go have fun racing dirt at the same time. Now, let me kind of break it down on why this car is not as competitive now as, say, my car. And my car is also an older car. This car's 10 years old, this chassis is. So in 10 years, they have come up with a lot better suspension geometry and tricks and doodads. And you know, I just do the best I can with what I've got on a budget. And I've done very well with this car. But here, let's break it down. The nose is not as big, for one. Back then, aero was not a huge part of modifieds. Guys didn't really think about it. Now, we stretched the limits on modifieds on what we're allowed to with the body. They didn't do that back then. So now the nose is physically as wide as possible and as long, and even has the kickers to trap more air on the nose. The reason you trap more air on the nose is as it goes over the car, that's more air trapped on top of the car that creates a high pressure versus the low pressure under it, and it sucks the car to the ground. Now, there's a lot more trickery involved in the body than just that. The roof, if you notice, this roof has a concave shape to it. If I poured a bucket of water on top of this car, water is going to spill over the sides as well as front and back. Well, water that goes over the sides, that's just like air losing over the side. And so we're going to lose downforce because there's air falling off the sides of the roof. My car has more of a concave roof to it, the opposite direction, which traps water on the roof. You know, okay, we're just using water as an example, but it traps air on the roof. And if you notice, I have the little kickers here, which, you know, my wrap is all messed up, and I just clear coated my wrap because the wrap was so faded that it didn't look that good anymore. So I was like, screw it, I just clear coated it. Anyways, there's little kickers here which traps more air on the roof, and my roof has as much rake in it as legally possible. This one over here, if you notice, we look at the side, this roof also has concave this way, which is a no-no. So now you have air that's just, instead of going up, now you have air that's being pulled down. So the roof and the nose of this car is aerodynamically. Now let's get on to the deck. So the width of the body. You'll notice this car has external Nerf bars. Modifieds now, we all have the Nerf bars inside the body. Yes, I know that's stupid, but the reason for that is now we can run a wider deck. So the deck is the flat part of the car. The wider it is, the more air we can trap on top of the car. You might be thinking, well, why don't you just put Nerf bars on the outside of your car now? Well, there's a maximum width the car can be. So what they did nowadays is basically just push the bodies to the limits. Now, a lot of cockpits on newer cars are super tiny. Like this has a big cockpit compared to the newer ones, because the narrower the cockpit, say if I stop the cockpit here even, well, that's just more deck that air can get trapped on top of the car and push the car down. Now, if you notice, this car is just level. All right, well, that creates no downforce. Even with my car having the flat right rear tire right now, my car's got wedge shape to it. See, it's got kind of a wedge shape to it. That helps create downforce. Okay, this old modified has leaf springs. Yeah, everybody knows what leaf springs are. So it has leaf springs. Now, leaf springs are very limited on their suspension travel up and down. When the track is tacky and hammered down, because the racetrack goes through changes as the night goes on. It starts off super tacky and the dirt has a lot of grip to it. So leaf spring cars will work okay. But as the track gets slicked off for the main event time, well, that's where the money's at. It's in the main event, not the heat races. Well, then leaf spring cars, well, they tend to lose a lot of grip. They don't have a lot of side bite. They don't have a lot of forward drive. That's where they're lacking. Enter my car. My car has a 4-link system, actually technically 6 links. I have a J-bar, which I don't know if I can even see it. All right, so I have a J-bar, which is this panhard bar here. We have, that's 1 link, 2 link, 3 link. There's 2 more on the other side, and then we have this link here with the spring on it. And also, there's a 7th link that the entire rear axle brake system is attached to. See? That link is just attached to the brake caliper. Over the years, they have figured out how to make all of that trickery work in creating grip. I'm not going to get too technical in it, but let's just call it the 7-link system that's on my car adds a shitload of mechanical drive to that left rear tire and the right front tire on the exit of the corner. And then with that J-bar, that adds a crap load of bite on the right rear tire on, mid corner. And you can manipulate the angles and all that trickery stuff to do what you want it to do at a specific corner or specific segment of that corner. When you hammer down on these systems here and the way the geometries are set up now, this corner of the car right here, oh, there's my hat. I was looking for that. This corner of the car shoots up like 9 inches. 9 to 10 inches. I mean, it's crazy. The entire car on the throttle turns into a giant wedge. You run a soft right front spring, and then you run, and the way the rear control arm angles are, the entire car turns into a wedge, like a giant wing. So the entire car turns into a spoiler. The roof is a spoiler. The deck is a spoiler. The entire car just becomes an aero downforce beast. The old school cars, there's not a lot of trickery movement in the rear suspension of these things. So you're kind of stuck with what you got. And so it kind of got me thinking, I'm like, you know what? We'll just give this car one last hoorah. The chassis is absolutely worthless. Nobody wants these. Nobody's looking for one. And I would never be able to sell it. But that engine, however, that's like a 550, 570 horsepower 351 Cleveland. It's got the Brin transmission. It's got a floated 9-inch rear axle. So it's got the pedal assembly I can use. It's got, it's got a steering quickener. It's got gauges. It's got a tach. It's got MSD ignition. It's got a lot of, parts I could use for, for instance, a 69 Charger Daytona build. The axle is usable, the gauges, not the engine, but I could sell the engine if I didn't want to do anything with it. Guy hasn't raced it in a long time, I was told, and it shows it. So now that we got all the tech out of the way, let's dive into this thing, see if we can get this thing running and driving, and we'll give it one last hoorah at the racetrack before it is parted out and no longer exists. Battery first. Oh. Well, that's annoying. Ha ha ha. Oh, that's a heavy battery. 2009. That's the date that it would have been bought. So yeah, 15 years ago is when this car had a new battery put in it. Oh, that thing is heavy. I don't even want to pick it up. This being a methanol car, I just thought, I'm like, oh yeah, I'm kind of afraid to look in the gas tank. Because we don't know, did the guy leave it parked with fuel in it? So this being a methanol car, it is disastrous. Uh-oh, I see moisture. That's not good. Let's look down in there. That means we gotta pull the fuel cell out. Just to clean it out. Luckily there's a plastic bladder, so all that crap that's inside of it with a pressure washer should blow it all out, but ugh. You know what though, before we even pull that fuel cell out with all that effort, let's just see if we can get it to fire up on, say, starting fluid. So we'll put a battery in it. And I just happen to know where one is at that I'm not going to be using at the moment. Ugh. Got our Walmart battery in. Should be a master switch. Oh yeah, there's a master disconnect switch here. So main power on. Okay, I didn't see the tach do anything. So, oh, here's our, they might have the, so maybe when you turn the ignition on, that's when everything else turns on. Nothing's happening. What's this high and low? That doesn't do anything. There's no other switches. I hate diagnosing electrical stuff. Want to check out the motor? Ka-chow. You know what would have been super awesome is if this guy built access panels to reach all his electrical in there. That is going to be a pain in the butt to get to, but let's just see. Looks like they got a fusible link going to the main power into the car. Let's see if the fusible link is any good. We'll just probe the backside of the fusible link. All right, well, we got power at the backside of the fusible link, so that means the car should be getting power. If we follow that wire, it runs under the cowl here, and it looks like it goes to the switch panel. So maybe the switch is just, you know, dead, which, it being right here, rain could have just rained on that switch and the push button for as long as this car has been sitting dead. So I bet you that switch and push button are just junk. But now how the hell are we gonna get, do they have a, see, he didn't make this removable. So that's not removable. What the hell? Ugh. Gonna have to remove this panel here just to access the, ooh. There's lots of spider webs in there. It's a bad thing with old race cars. They are spider mating grounds. Oh, maybe we can just peel this back a little bit. Here, you guys can go in there and check it out. I'm gonna keep my hands out of there for now. You have to tell me what you see. Oh, I think I see the switches, but that's still hard to get to. Probably have to take the frickin' door off to get to that. I don't want to take the door off. Dang it. You guys could have told me there was a black widow right there. Aha! Die! All right, we have accessibility to the switch now. This is a terrible spot to put this. This should have been somewhere where you can access it if you need to, because if you were at the racetrack or something like that, that'd have been a pain in the ass to get to. The switch is on right now. It's in the on position, and the master switch is on as well. So hopefully we see power. Okay, so we got power at one side of the switch, and I can see the switch is all rusty too, so, and there's nothing. There's no power at the other side, which that power, if you follow, also feeds the starter button. So if that switch is not allowing power through it, then the car is dead. So I'm thinking we just need to go get ourselves a switch. All right, we got our new push button and our ignition switch installed. Let's see, hit our master switch. Hopefully when we turn the ignition on, the gauges do something. Aha, they did. All right, let's see if the engine does anything. Hey, hey. I hate it when people do this. So they've got the spark plug boots and the cap, which lock the boot into the cap. So if you try and just pull this off, all the freaking plug wires want to go with it. So stupid. Stop doing that. Oh God. Ah. Oh. That's definitely got some spark to it. Whoa. There, I trimmed all the little ears off, so now if I need to, I can pull that hold down off without having to pull the whole plug wire assembly off of the cap. But man, that thing had some spark and zapped the shit out of me. That's the hardest I've been zapped in a long time. All right, I got my temporary fuel system. If this thing pops and bangs, and makes some noise, we're going to proceed to pulling the fuel cell out of this thing and cleaning it up, so then making it actually run. But I don't want to put all the effort into pulling it out without actually hearing the engine go pop, 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 pop. Here we go. Oh yeah. I don't even need to hear any more. I know it's gonna run. Crap. Here's one problem with methanol. It eats everything. The outlet for the fuel cell. Whoa. It's completely gelatinized. All right, well, another problem. This line is completely clogged, and the line was only long enough to go to the front side of the fuel cell. When you're on the throttle, where does fuel go? To the back side. So we're gonna have to put a longer hose on here and run it to the back and unclog that. The hose is perfectly clean. Like, you could see right through it. But then the aluminum part of it is where it just completely disintegrated. Like, this whole fitting here is junk. That thing would suck air for days, because the bottom of that is supposed to look like that. And even right there, it's been eaten. So yeah, methanol, super corrosive to aluminum. So I actually don't have any hose pieces that are longer than this. And I'm just going to make a coupler. We got some used fittings, we got a coupler, and we're just going to splice in an extra piece of hose on top of this to extend it farther back. Fuel cell's all cleaned out. I've got my longer hose in with its coupler. And again, I'm just saving money, just using stuff I've got lying around. Just need to trim it just a little bit more and we will be perfect. There we go. What I'm blindly unscrewing there is the fuel filter. I got to thinking, I'm like, you know what? If the fitting on the fuel cell was that corroded, what's the aluminum fuel filter look like? So I thought I better pull it off, or at least look at it. Oh, well, that's good. That's pretty clean. Well, that's not good. I imagine the inside of the filter is no better. See, that's not even methanol anymore. It just smells like water, because methanol attracts water. At least it's a metal screen filter so we can clean it out. And by looking in the hose that goes forward of the filter, it looks open. And I'm so glad that they had a fuel shut off, because I popped off the hose that goes to the pump, which is right there. I popped that orange hose off just to see if it was foobarred in there, because otherwise we're done. And but luckily the guy most likely shut the fuel supply off, which is that valve right there, right here, last time he parked it, and just ran it out of fuel. So that's a good thing. Yeah. Okay, fuel filter's in, it's all cleaned out, pressure washed. Of course, the O-rings that was in the fuel filter were not all that great. So I just put pipe sealer on the threads and hoping it works for now. It'll work temporarily, but what I have got right here, M1 methanol fuel. Okay, let's go ahead and fill this sucker up. But I just remembered this car's been sitting so long. Insert the upper lube additive. Normally this is supposed to treat a full 55-gallon drum, so we're just going to pour half of this in here because this car hasn't seen any action in a while, so we need to make sure. Okay, that is more than enough for 5 gallons. That's excessive, actually. But you know what? I'm sure this car is going to like it. I'm sure the fuel pump's going to like it. I'm sure the carburetor is going to like it. And I'm sure the valves are going to love it. Here we go. We still haven't built any fuel pressure yet. I'm wondering if the entire line, or maybe the line, maybe the fitting at the shutoff valve is clogged. Alright, I pulled the intake side fitting off of the fuel pump, and it was bone dry. So I'm gonna go ahead and pressurize the fuel cell and try and get some fuel up there. See if we got any fuel. Oh yeah, we got fuel now. It's a dripping. All right, at least I know we got some flow. Success. All right, I've been watching that fuel pressure gauge. That one right there. And we have not gotten any fuel pressure, but hopefully now after priming that fuel pump, we will get some fuel pressure because I know it's got fuel there now. I think the fuel pump is just shot because I even pulled this hose off and fired it up again. No fuel flow. Fuel was like at the top of the fitting It wouldn't do nothing other than that but just jiggle around. So I don't know, maybe I can pull the fuel pump off, take it apart. Hell, I don't know. I have figured it out. So it's just a vane pump. So there's little slots that are supposed to come out, and it creates a low pressure, and then it creates a high pressure and forces it in. So it's just, but the problem is my vanes are not expanding to make the pump work. So if I can free my vanes up, then I will have fuel flow. So I'm gonna see if I can't free those suckers up. All right, I got all my little vanes out. I'm just going to smooth them up on sandpaper. Same thing with the, I don't know, what do you call this? The barrel or the wheel of it? I don't know. But we're just gonna smooth out the surfaces, get it to where the vane, because centrifugal force pushes the vane out when it spins in here just by the rotation of the pulley. So the centrifugal force pushes the vanes out, which grabs a scoop of fuel and forces it from one side to the other, basically just creating a low pressure and a high pressure. So it's pretty simple. I believe we can fix this. All right, I took it all apart and cleaned it all up. You can see all the vanes are stuck in. So now if this thing works, but if I snap spin it, the vanes should stick out. So, aha! See how that one vane came out? Well, that would have come out and sucked the fuel and pushed it out. So, again. So I believe we're in action now. Alrighty, peoples. It is the next day. It's nice and sunny and really beautiful right now. You can hear the birds chirping. It's quiet. And it is the perfect reason to fire this sucker up and ruin all that, because car guy. Yep. The fuel pump is bolted back on. And I am hoping that when we fire this thing up, that needle on the fuel pressure gauge will go because then it will be race ready. Well, maybe not race ready, but at least farther along. And because this was a California race car, it has mufflers. So once we get this thing fired up, of course these mufflers have got to go, because that is extra weight and it decreases the sound of the horsepowers. Another bad note is I pulled the radiator cap, and that radiator, the guy never drained the coolant, so there's water in there. Actually, you know what, let's see how bad this is. Use my dipstick here. All right, well, it's got some rust in the water, but it's not as bad as I was thinking. That's good, but definitely need to clean the I need to get that crap out of there. And the radiator cap, completely junk. So I think once we get this thing fired up and know the fuel pump works, we're gonna go ahead and drain what's left out of that radiator, flush this thing, and make it more gooder. All right, fuel on. Master switch on. Ignition on. That's just the fuel that was in here from last night. All right. Come on, baby. luckily I decided to pull the hoses and flush the radiator, because that radiator is junk. Look at this. Yep. I'm pretty sure it's no good inside the radiator. Luckily, however, when I first got my General E, it had a circle track radiator in it. So I've got this extra radiator that's perfectly good. I'm just gonna take the electric fan off of it, slap it in there, and we will then have a cooling system again. Didn't cost me anything. Free horsepower is good horsepower. And yes, it's horsepower, because if you can't keep the engine cool, you have no horsepower. Maybe it'll fit this time. And it does. All right, you guys, I got the car all put back together. Mechanically, the radiator is in it and it holds water. I would fire it up for you and go, wow, 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 but I ran it out of gas when I was, obviously last night, and it didn't have enough gas in it to actually stay running today. And we're getting ready to push this thing out onto Billy Mitchell's trailer. So as a buddy of mine, he was kind of like, so when I first got into circle track racing, I didn't have anybody to go to. I didn't really know anyone. And so then I bumped into this guy at the racetrack, and obviously he's like, what a dumbass. And so he tried to like point me and fix things, and I ended up bringing my first race car to his house, and we did a bunch of work to it and been friends ever since. But he's always been an asphalt weenie since ever I've known him, and he wants to try and get his feet dirty. So I've got this old tank here, and Billy's gonna take it out, and I told him, I was like, I don't care if you completely wad it up, just don't hurt the motor or the axle, because that's all I care about.
I'm gonna go drive the shit out of it. That's the bottom line. We're going to the dirt and play in the dirt and have some fun.
But you know what? If the car comes back unhurt, maybe it'll just turn in. Maybe I'll just leave it all together and make it like the village bicycle tour. If any of my friends want to just experience dirt racing, this car will always be there, and it's really safe because it's really heavy and strong.
Or the village mom.
Yeah, the village bicycle. All right, Billy, we have to keep this, you know, PG-13 now.
Well, you know me, I am a professor, teacher,
yeah.
So, you know, I got mom jokes.
But he's been racing asphalt modified since, what, the early 90s?
Oh, Jesus. Yeah, 93.
93. And then I've always known him running super late models. Then he got back into asphalt modifieds. So he's going to take this home. He's going to go through the setup on it. Just maybe lighten it up a tad. Just mechanically go through it, make sure it's all sound and safe. He's got to put new seat belts in it and all that. So we're going to go ahead and roll it into his trailer, because this is going to be his chariot for the Duel in the Desert. So I'm going to make him work on it.
Yeah, we're going to do it.
All right, let's load this turd up.
Let's do it.
Bad company, and I won't deny. Bad company, till the day I die. Yeah, till the day I
Stop making noise. We gotta do this intro. So this is actually still the same modified. Billy has just gone typical Billy. He just can't leave anything alone. He has gone above and beyond in trying to shed weight out of this car. We didn't realize this car was 400 pounds heavy.
Oh, yeah.
With the driver in it, this car would have been 400 pounds heavy. So he has gone to just taken the cutoff wheel to this thing and taken a bunch of weight out. He's making a new fuel cell bracket, he can put a new bumper on it, and we're actually going to redo some of the rear suspension so we can get more lift with the leaf springs. So you notice that's bottomed out, so he's going to shove that forward. We're going to put a brake floater on it, which, just a quick summary.
Hey, stop telling them all our secrets.
So the brake floater is going to allow him to be on the brake pedal on corner entry, which will load the right front tire and make it turn better. So we're throwing some little dirt tricks at it to make it better. And you never know, this might be the only leaf spring car still running that makes the show.
Well, you know who's driving it, you know. Come on.
Let me take that back. This won't be the... But the amount of work that he's putting into this thing is like, dude, Billy, you didn't have to go and re-engineer the whole freaking car.
Hey, I renamed this car, Chris, Jenny for a reason, because she's losing more weight than anybody that ever signed up on Jenny Craig.
So Billy's got a YouTube channel. Now, he's a rookie YouTuber. I've had to call him and let him know, like, dude, you can't hold the camera this close to your face, and nobody wants to see your chin the whole time while you're talking.
I'm old.
So he'll get better at his YouTube. And so if you want to see more in-depth on what he's doing to this car and follow more on his process on becoming a dirt racer, because I will get him out of the asphalt shit eventually. It's what? The Professor 21?
Yeah, Race Professor 21.
Race Professor 21 on YouTube. I promise you he'll get better on the videos.
Oh, they're good. They're entertaining.
They're entertaining.
They're fun to make fun of.
If you want to just watch a chin. But he's a character. I've learned a lot from him over the years. But I think the student has become the teacher.
Oh, shit. Here we go. I guess we'll find out at the duel, huh?
Yeah. So, all right. Well, he's got a lot more work to do this thing. I just came over to bring him lighter rear bumper and that brake floater. And then he's going to go ahead and finish his wizardry and make it a lot lighter. And this thing should actually be... You know, at first I was like, this thing's not going to be competitive at all, but, you know, you can go out there and have fun. But now that he's probably taken, by the time you're done, this car's probably going to be 300 pounds lighter than it was.
I would guess, I'm hoping. Let's put
Between
it
250, 300.
It's got that big front clip and that big old 351 Cleveland in it with steel heads. Yeah. It's a heavy motor, man.
But that motor makes power.
Oh, it's a beast.
Yeah.
It is a beast.
So, but now that he's taken a bunch of weight out and we're doing some suspension mods to this thing, and we're actually going to do a little bit more aero to it. I mean, if you notice, the whole back of the car is cut off because he's going to take that deck and...
Yep, we're going to do a little aero.
He's going to do some more downforce things to it. So,
yeah,
I'm actually thinking he might make some of the A-mains during the show.
Oh, it'll be entertaining.
Yeah.
That's all I'm going to say. It'll be fun.
See it. And then when he does suck, I'll be like, oh, even with all that work, Billy, you still can't drive your ass.
Well, you know, I can be humbled. It's all good. It's my first. I got an excuse. I'm a virgin on the dirt, so.
Yeah. But I think what we're doing here is proving you can take an old, shitty dirt car or old, shitty asphalt car, and with just some Emmanuel labor, you might be able to turn it into something competitive.
Yeah, I agree. I think there's a lot of fun left in this old girl right here. And just a testament, I mean, this car's over 30 years old.
Oh, yeah.
Whoever built this thing did a great job. I mean, it's heavy duty. It's had a lot of fun already used in it. Now it's time to take it out and have a lot more fun in it.
Yeah, see, a lot of guys are thinking, oh, I got to have the biggest and baddest race car. That way I can make it into NASCAR. Well, I hate to break the news to you. Nobody's making it into NASCAR without millions and millions of dollars behind them pushing it, because that's all they care about. This is supposed to be a hobby. It's supposed to be fun. So if you take the fun out of it, then why are you even doing it?
Exactly.
So hopefully we can, you know, Billy said he hasn't been having a lot of fun racing in the last couple of years. It's just been heartache. It's just been expensive. And so hopefully this will light some of that spark back and bring him some entertainment and fun.
Oh, it'll be good. I think we're going to have a good time. The weather's going to be great. If you guys are watching this from wherever, you need to come out to Vegas. I'm looking at the weather. It's going to be in the mid-70s. So.
Oh, yeah. And this event's going to be televised.
Yep.
So you'll be able to watch Billy suck in live.
I love your confidence.
All right, guys. So it's the Race Professor 21, right?
Yep.
Okay. The Race Professor 21. Go ahead and check him out. He will get better on his channel. And give him some subs and some likes and try and help his channel get off the ground a little bit. All right. See you guys.
Thanks, and God bless America.
back at my crib now. I've got my own things to take care of while Billy is taking care of things on that car. He's going above and beyond, making that car way more competitive than I thought it was going to be. I not only need to make my car competitive, but I need to make it run. I'm missing a radiator. I'm missing a water pump. I just fixed the transmission, and we're down to days left before the Duel in the Desert. Luckily, I ordered all those parts, and they'll be here in time for me to get them on and get it ready, get it on the ground, get it on the trailer. So stick around for part 2. I think you guys are going to enjoy it at the track, ripping around there, slinging mud, hauling ass, and going through some learning curves with Billy. So I think it's going to be great. I'll see you guys at the track.
Birdsong going to slide across turns 1 and 2 up to the top side and down the back straightaway, 3 wide stair step. Ursetta, Yeager, Ricky Alvarado, and here comes TM3. 3 laps down this time, Birdsong still leads. Dominic Ursetta working the high line of the speedway. Maybe a tick tight to work to the top side. He'll give a couple.